Our hometown ad network is the cornerstone of our full-service revenue generation plan. Our platform gives you complete control over the ads being displayed on your site. Our team handles all setup, management, and optimization of the ad network. After a quick setup call, no effort is required from the publisher. You get to choose how many ads are displayed, where they are placed, and what categories of ads are seen by your readers. Any empty space on your site can generate revenue passively as advertisers bid against each other for premium ad placement. You'll also have the ability to prioritize local advertisers, ensuring that your ads are focused on serving your readership and business model. The Our Hometown Ad Network is offered free of charge, with 10% of ad revenue being applied towards service and maintenance. If revenue exceeds your monthly charges, you will receive the remainder as a payment directly from Our Hometown. For more information on this feature and all the other tools provided by our custom WordPress platform, visit ourhometown.com. Through Our Hometown's full-service PDF to HTML extraction, turning your print publication into a fully digital website is as easy as sending an issue off to the printer. Once we receive that same PDF you use for print, our team will get to work extracting its content and converting it into a mobile-friendly web format. The ads in your print edition can be extracted as well and converted into digital ad blocks. These ads are fully trackable and can even be used to link to your advertiser's website. After the conversion is complete, our team conducts a quality check to make sure everything is in the right place. Then your articles will get scheduled for publication to coincide with the release of your print edition. For more information on this feature and all the other tools provided by our custom WordPress platform, visit ourhometown.com. The Our Hometown Related Stories block is a great way to keep readers engaged and increase your website's page views. Each Related Stories block appears as a mobile adaptive list at the end of each article and displays a list of other articles the reader might be interested in. Unlike similar widgets, which only feature articles from the same category sections, the Our Hometown Related Stories block uses context within the article to show related articles from all sections of the site. This is accomplished by using natural language processing to analyze named entities within every story across the entire website. From there, a list of overlapping topics is generated and applied to each article. Once topics are assigned, our Related Stories block is able to analyze semantic connections between named entities, allowing it to group stories together contextually based on the relationships between people, places, and organizations. These related blocks will only display your site's content, never pulling in advertisements or linking out to other sources. With Related Stories, your readers will be able to gain more insight into the topics they're interested in, while increasing their time on page and helping your website's performance. Welcome to today's webinar from Our Hometown. President and CEO Matt Larson will speak with the directors of the Virginia Press Association, the innovators of the original Digital Initiative program. We will then hear from 2 association member publishers on their participation in the program. And finally, we'll feature highlights from the onboarding process with a new grant awardee based in Illinois. Please welcome Matt and the directors of the Virginia Press Association, Betsy Edwards, Executive Director, Steve Weddle, Director of Finance and Administration, and Rachel Flaherty, Digital Services Manager.
Welcome, everyone. So we're talking with the Virginia Press Association. Hopefully we're going to have some more attendees jumping on soon, but I think we should go ahead and get started. I really appreciate everyone's time. Betsy, Steve, Rachel, you guys, I know you're all very busy, but you've got a really cool thing going here with the digital initiative. I took the time to plot out a little timeline this weekend on our website, on our blog, and just pulled together all the different blog posts and all the different announcements that we've made in the last year, in less than a year, how much we've accomplished. 4 websites that we've launched in Virginia. Some of them had websites before, some of them didn't. We're going to talk about each of them, but let's just start off with Betsy and Steve, maybe. If you both kind of want to talk about it, because you were the ones that approached me in the beginning about the digital initiative and what you were trying to accomplish there. So could you just kind of set the stage for, other press association directors, what you're trying to accomplish, and what is the VPA Digital Initiative?
Sure. Steve's going to chime in here, I hope, because he really leads it. But, sure. Oh, gosh, quite a while ago, Steve and I started talking about what members needed. And my first sort of not probably good idea was maybe we'd set up a digital fellowship. We'd have sort of a tech fellowship, and we'd get these students. They'd come right out of college, and we'd send them, we'd send them out to a newspaper, and they'd help them develop a website.
Right.
And we're like, oh, then we'd have to have scholarships in a program, and it sounded very complicated. So I think it was Steve who probably said, well, why don't we just help them build a website another way? So we knew, Steve and I looked at our papers, and we have about 160, and there seemed to be about a dozen that in our mind had no website, right, or the website consisted of just a landing page. And so that's when Steve started running with the idea of getting somebody like you to help us. And I don't really know what his thinking was, all of it at that time, so I'm going to turn it over to him to explain.
Sure, yeah, well, sure. Thanks for hosting us, Matt. We knew that one of the things that our members needed was the website presence. Some of them, and presence to begin with, as Betsy said, some of them had Facebook pages. That was their website presence. And, nothing against Facebook. I enjoy spending time arguing with my high school buddies as much as the next person. But it's a difficult way to generate revenue.
Right.
And so we wanted, those papers to have the option to control their own website, right? And then we had others that just had a landing page. We had others that said, under construction, and so one of the, I come to this, I worked for 20 something years at a weekly newspaper, right, and, which we internally referred to as the weekly miracle. Each time we were able to get a publication out the door. But, this is back in the 90s when I started, and we weren't worried about websites. But find out is to create a website for a newspaper when you're already doing all of that other stuff. It's not like you're granted an extra day per week to do a website.
Right.
You still got to do all the other stuff that you've been doing since, So we said, look, it's not that the people at the newspapers aren't bright enough to do it. It's not they're not interested enough to do it. They just don't have the time to do it. So, they need this thing. Let us help them by providing them, the wherewithal. And so, in terms of training and financing and all this stuff, we came to it saying, let us provide this to you. Right. Work on a 3-year plan, which we did, not to get the cart before the horse, but that's sure. I don't want to jump the story ahead, but here's a 3-year plan. Yeah. VPA pays for everything the first year. The second year we go halvesies with the individual newspaper. And then the third year we hand it off to the newspaper. Now we can't do that if we're not generating revenue through that website. The newspaper has to generate revenue because, our sort of contract with the newspapers, the agreement, the understanding. So the underlying principle is you need a website to help generate revenue. So let's get you generating revenue so you can pay for that website 3 years down the road. So we're easing into it because as anyone who has run, newspapers knows, or any business, that capital expenditure at the front end, in money and time, resources, and just getting people trained up to do it, so arduous that it just makes it impossible. So let us ease you into it over a 3-year period, and then we'll hand it off to you, and you will be making more than enough money to pay for the website, and it's an extra revenue stream for you.
And Matt, we had some underlying goals here, besides just having every newspaper in Virginia to have a website. The underlying goals were that one, we have a digital network. We'd like them to have a website so they could participate in that. You could send them advertising. 2, we know that the expectation of people in the U.S. and Americans is that they're going to get their news, very updated news all the time. It's hard to do that when you're printing, publishing your paper once a week. And you don't have a website, so there's no way you can update that newspaper. So that's kind of last century. And then there's also a very large legislative tie-in to this. I can't speak to what other people tell their general assemblies, but our lobbyist and I tell them that, if you keep public notices in print in Virginia, it's a threefer. You get them in print, then you get them on the website of the newspaper, in front of the paywall, and then you, of course, by code, they're required to upload them to VPA's statewide public notice website. So there's a little kink there. And we always go, oh, you don't want to put them on the local government website. They've even admitted this in FOIA meetings. They said, we have rural counties that don't even have websites, and they never update them. This is what local government is admitted to. And I'm thinking, well, we're better than them. And then, you check and find out, no, we're not. We have 12 weeklies that don't have a website. So we need, for a host of reasons, everybody to have a website.
That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Betsy. It's something that almost every press association has mentioned in our meetings. This is a motivator for everyone. It's a nationwide thing, although every state's in a different position in this whole phase, with the legislation. But I mean, there's just so much to unpack there. I mean, I love what you said there, Steve, about, just basically how the newspapers have been, over the last 20 years expected to do more and more with less and less. The internet first came in. Now you got to do a website. Now you got to do social media. I mean, I think the big thing that's different with our program is it's not just to set them up with a website. It's to manage it week to week and do all the marketing on social media. They don't need to do any more work, and they can still start to gain some momentum online. And also, like what your point earlier, they had a Facebook presence. They were online, but there's no business model with Facebook. There's really no end game. You have to turn that into website traffic and monetize it on the website. And we'll talk about exactly how we're doing that. All great points. So can we talk a little bit about the funding? Because I do get a lot of questions about this when I talk to other press associations. How did you guys come up with the funding? Did you apply for a grant for this, or how did that work?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We've had a couple of really good years. Can't lie to you. We just last year we exceeded our goal, our display advertising goal through our advertising arm. They know what I'm talking about because they all have one. This year we're going to probably hit 200% on that goal. So for these 2 years, we have some extra money to put toward it.
Gotcha. So it's essentially the Virginia Press Ad Network that you were mentioning earlier that's funding this. Okay. Yep. And and that's obviously a key component of every website. It's just going to be included. I think with Illinois, we're doing something similar. It's not they're doing the Capital News widget. So, with any of these programs, if you have some content that you want to get out to a wide audience, then we can use this as a platform for that. It could be part of the agreement when they sign up to get a free website through the Press Association. They just need to include this widget or this ad, and we can definitely make that happen. Okay, great. So then just a couple other questions that I had. And again, attendees, drop them in the chat at any point. What criteria? So can we go to Rachel for a second and just talk a little bit about the rollout process? Because I know your position is at the company's digital services manager for the VPA. So you started with this program and this is your main objective. Is that right?
That's one of the main things I'm working on. criteria, I basically just looked at all of our members' websites to see and made a list of who didn't have a website or just a landing page. And let's start with them first. And then from there, once we get those people on board, start looking at our members that have a website, but it's not a very great looking website or doesn't work well for them. And we can provide something better for them.
So let me get some numbers out there, because I know that a lot of press associations have done this research, but a lot of them haven't. I think earlier Betsy was saying 12 were identified early on, and those were the ones with no website or just a landing page. Is that
just a landing page?
Right?
Yes. And then I have a list about 15 that could probably do with a better looking website.
Right. So 15. Yeah, that's what I really need to change about the way I describe this program, because I love the idea of saying, hey, we're going to get every newspaper online in the country. You know, they're going to finally have a website. But the majority of I think the publishers that will benefit from this, they already do have a website. It's just they technically are online. And so I really shouldn't frame it like that. It's really just, do they have a functional digital business model, right? I mean, is the website profitable is the number one, but like, what's the plan? Do they have a paywall? And a lot of times it's a technical hang up. They just literally cannot connect their PayPal account to this CMS, you know, and that's just really unfortunate. They're letting their business strategy be driven by the technology. So we take care of
Matt,
that.
That's a good example, Matt. I think that we have found with a number of our members that they may have a website, but it's too difficult to manage, or they're not able to do the sorts of things that they're going to need to be able to do in a couple of years. For example, I believe you've got the Courier-Record up there.
That's right.
And, you know, they approached us, or we approached them. You know, they said, hey, look, you know, the way that we're doing it is a little difficult now. The way you're explaining it seems like it's an easier way, but we would like the website to look pretty much the way it looks now, but just more, you know, more better. So we just tweaked a little thing, but they had an idea of what they wanted. So it's much different than some of the others that don't have a website. But what in working with y'all has enabled us to do is to kind of integrate some of these monetary aspects of it, which is great. But also the ability, you know, the audio articles that you folks have, where it reads it to you. You know, you just go on the website and it will automatically read the story to you, which is great.
People speak over that.
And it also gives you the ability to scrape for newsletters, so that it will automatically, you know, you can send out newsletters 3 times a week with a sports newsletter. And so that allows our newspapers to also monetize that. You know, you can do a sports, you know, Friday night football is huge here. Friday, as it is in, you know, many states. So high school football being such a driver of content for weekly in particular, if you can generate a newsletter that comes out, say, Thursday afternoons, preview all the regions, you know, high school football matches, you'll be able to sell things to, you know, whoever the Tasty Freeze down the road will purchase a banner at. So you're generating revenue on the content already got on your website, because you're putting those stories up anyway in the paper. So you've got all this there. So it's just, you know, you just monetize it because you've already done the work.
That's right. Yeah. And I would even put it like this, like we're literally increasing the digital footprint of, you know, the news industry in Virginia, and just creating inventory out of thin air. You know, I mean, this stuff doesn't exist now. This website will generate traffic, though. You know, it's got the brand name. And what we basically do is we plug into whatever audience they have to bring to us, which most often is the Facebook audience, right? So we can plug into that and turn that into a website audience. And then, you know, once they're on the website, then they can sign up for the newsletter, as you said, and then we have a direct connection with them. It's a one-to-one relationship rather than us, Facebook in the middle, and then the customer. So, lots of good points there. I wanted to get back to the timeline, because like going back to August when we kind of announced this, you know, we quickly, got some interest from several papers, and the Virginia Star was the first one to launch. Maybe we could even just talk a little bit about, you know, working with Lisa McCarty there, Rachel, or anyone want to jump in on like how you chose Virginia Star to start and how that all went off?
Unfortunately, I came in after Virginia Star had just launched.
Right.
But I know talking with Lisa, she was thrilled, and she's been thrilled with working with you guys.
Awesome.
They had a website, but it wasn't working very well. They had, I think, broken images.
Yeah, it was one that they put together a few years ago. And, what frequently happens is that someone in the community, perhaps even your nephew, right, might say, hey, look, I can do a website or something like that.
Right.
But you don't get the week-to-week sort of working on that. It'll be created, it'll sit and it'll die, and of course the images will disappear. So your website may be virginianewspaper.geocities.com. Right. But if you're not updating it every week, that's a problem. At least once a week. And so she was very pleased with what we had worked out with y'all, which was all you have to do is when you send your PDFs to the printer, send them to us, right? Upload them to the FTP, and it generates, the website, right? The content for it. So weekly, it gets updated. So she was very pleased with that because then it's, every week you've got new content, but it also allows you to go in and add in new stories throughout the week as they happen. So we were to work with her, with y'all, and get her up to speed pretty quickly. And then every week, the PDF. So now they're able go in and update stories as they happen. If there's a bank robber being chased down the road on a Thursday afternoon at 2, they can update it. But if there's not, still new information getting up there as the paper gets uploaded automatically when the PDFs get uploaded.
Right.
And she's located, Matt, as you may know, in Scott County, Virginia, which is Appalachia. It's on the Tennessee line. It's I used to live in the neighboring county for a little while, so I know it's very rural. There are no cities whatsoever in Scott County. There are barely even any towns. And Lisa has said frequently that she's not a tech savvy person. So I think doing what she needed to do was, for her, like a lot of people, very, very intimidating. And so making it, sort of bird by bird or digestible for her is what convinced her that this was the time was now, and that we were going to be here for quite a while. There's some history that you should be aware of that Steve probably knows as much or more about it than I do. But prior to my coming here 6 years ago, there was a point in VPA's history where VPA decided to create a platform for our members. And I don't know if it was a good platform, a bad platform, a mediocre, I don't know. All I know is they put it out there, and it was undertaken by a person who was hired on a contract basis. And he decided to end his contract with VPA. And that ended the support for this website. So I knew nothing about this. I get the job and I call people up about doing the statewide public notice website, and they start yelling at me and saying, well, you didn't support that, that VPA website. We're now using that website. It's terrible and we can't get any help. So Steve was somewhat familiar with that because he used to be a board member here, and I'd heard a lot about it. So we wanted to make sure this is not a one-off. So we did not go to Lisa or any of these other people, as you well know. That's part of the thinking behind the 3-year plan is that we don't go, give them a website and go, it's been real. And then, of course, they can't manage it going forward. So we think the 3 years is a reasonable amount of time to get them comfortable, familiar, and using it in such a way and marketing in a way that it's a good thing for them.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, what we're looking at, the situation is we've got to get them on the digital roadmap. We've got to get them on Google's index. We've got to get them, linked to on Facebook. So that does take time to build traffic. So the fact that you are funding this and, making it free to the publisher for the first year, they don't see any cost. They see nothing but profit. And, Cole, I think if I go back here to Courier-Record is doing excellent. I don't want to give out his numbers, but he, even if you guys weren't paying for the site, he'd be profitable in the first couple months just from the paywall. And so we're building up traffic there. I mean, he's got his loyal traffic coming in right away, but we're going to continue to grow the traffic through plugging it into social media, and then we can monetize even just the casual traffic with the ad network. So that's a key part of that model. One thing I just want to mention, to anyone on the call that doesn't know, or anyone watching this video, that, we have expanded this digital initiative. This idea, we're taking this model to all states, all press associations that want to participate. No competition, obviously, with VPA, all good vibes and all growth here. So we're learning from each other, and we're learning what works. And really the model seems to be, they really need that support the first year, because they've, maybe been burned in the past by kind of a fly-by-night provider. But with our hometown and the VPA partnered together, I mean, we've got two institutions. I mean, you guys are much more of an institution than us, but we've been in the business 26 years, and we've always done this process of turning the PDF into the website. That's been from day one the model. So we've got a lot of experience with this, and it just works out of the box. So maybe if we could, for a second here, just quickly take a break. And I think we're going to wind up. Only got a few more questions here, but just take a quick break from me talking and watch this video, because I just want you all to see. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to see it yet, Betsy, but we put this together for you all. And this is kind of like a template that we can use for any press association. And this is just an informational video for the members that Rachel can just send out to kind of introduce them and give them an overview. We've already talked about most of the features in here, but this hopefully will give a nice comprehensive overview of the features and services that are part of the initiative. So I'm going to go ahead and start this.
The Virginia Press Association's digital initiative is aimed at getting all newspapers in Virginia on the web with a turnkey digital revenue model. Our Hometowns Association partnerships intend to provide member newspapers with a full-service website setup, launch, and digital publishing. Publishers send our team the same PDF files which go to a printer, and we extract the stories into a mobile, responsive website. We will also furnish the necessary tools to monetize content and promote the site on social media. If you don't have a website now or struggle to keep your current website updated, this program is for you. Plus, as a VPA member, it is completely free for the first year to help publishers build a sustainable digital revenue model. What we are proposing is a starter website that focuses only on the features that drive revenue and traffic. At the core is the Our Hometown WordPress platform. This is where all of your articles and images live, and where you can go to update and manage your content. We'll take care of all of the setup. That way you and your staff can stay focused on your main goal of publishing your paper. Next is the digital subscriptions module. With digital subscriptions, you can be sure none of your content is being given away for free. You set the terms of your subscription model, which can include a hard or metered paywall that allows readers a certain number of free monthly articles. The Web Ads plugin allows you to sell ad spaces on your website the same way you would for your paper. Our Hometown also offers an ad network that can be used to fill any unused ad spaces, so you're always maximizing your ad revenue. Our e-edition PDF reader displays a digital version of your paper that looks similar to the print edition, providing a way to engage readers who are skeptical of the web format. Social Media Auto Post will automatically create posts for all of your social media profiles that will drive traffic to your website. The posts will be published automatically, removing the need to manage all of your pages separately. Learn more about the program at vpa.net/digital initiative.
All right. So that's kind of just the overview video. Again, just tried to outline all the features. We've kind of referenced all of those. I think we didn't mention the e-edition really yet. That's the one other thing I noticed on there that's part of what we call the core features, right? We've got the paywalls core feature that's generating revenue, ad network, and the e-edition, we see that as part of it because that's sort of like the bridge from that print audience. It helps bring them in, gives them something familiar, because that's all that they're used to at this point. Do you guys have any other comments on the video and the features that were outlined there?
I think what's really great, what we like is that you guys offer kind of the base for a website that they can get comfortable using, and then they can grow from there, because you offer so many add-ons that they can, once they get comfortable using it, the WordPress and everything, then they're more willing to try and adding on those other options.
That's a really good point. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've got a lot of add-ons, a lot of bells and whistles, because we got a lot of different types of customers, but really, you don't want to get overwhelmed. You don't want to go in there and have an app from day one, because you got to build the website traffic first, one thing at a time. And then you use the website to promote an app later, once you have a profitable model and you want to grow that audience further. So there's just this is the list of features. Steve mentioned earlier the audio articles. It's a really exciting feature. We're putting a lot of development into that. But, like I said, apps, newsletters, Google Docs add-on, all kinds of bells and whistles there. But yeah, we don't like to just, confuse publishers. It's just, we keep it as straightforward as possible. So then let's see. So you kind of, let's talk a little bit about the process for rolling this out, Rachel, I guess. You mentioned the criteria. You've got a short list of about 27 papers that we'll be, approaching. You usually meet with them and kind of tell them about the program. And sometimes you even show them a prototype, I think. Is that part of your process yet? Or are we the first to show the prototype?
Usually starts with a phone call. I try and get them on the phone. From there, I'll send them a follow-up email. I'll include that video that you just showed, along with some other details. And then from there, I schedule a meeting between us and our hometown so that they can walk through the prototype.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much what we're starting to do at IPA too. You guys do have an application process, right? I think you have a kind of something like that they have to do first to sort of get
just an agreement, really. Yeah.
An agreement? Okay.
It's a short agreement that once they decide to kind of enroll to the program, they sign an agreement saying that, they agree to these terms of the 3-year rollout.
Right. The 3-year rollout. I know one thing is that they agree to send us the files, each week, because that is critical, keeping that website dynamic. If we're going to try to, build an audience, or sometimes even worse, win back an audience that's kind of been burned by a website that hasn't been updated in years or something, we've really got to overcome that. So let's see. And then last question, let's kind of open it up for everyone here. What is the future in your mind, or like what would you, in your dreams, I guess, for the digital initiative, if it continues to turn out profitable websites? How do you see this program evolving, I guess, past the 3 years? Any thoughts on that?
But as other executive directors like me, I look at it a little bit more at a 30,000-foot view, and that is we did a strategic planning process. VPA's first member-involved, board-involved strategic planning process. And we got 3 main goals out of it. One was to go out and praise and celebrate and talk about and educate the public on the value of local news and newspapers in particular. And then another goal was to help newspapers be sustainable. And what we are finding is that all of our goals intersect. And Steve and I found that. We found that they just intersect. So they intersect with, that having a website, an active website allows you to take ads from our digital network. Our ad director loves that.
Right.
I love it because it helps our lobbyist and me in the General Assembly show that you don't need to move public notices from print to websites. They're already on websites, our websites.
Right.
It shows all these things. And then we, as part of that first goal, which was to celebrate and advocate for and talk about the value of local news, we decided to create, I would call it a newsletter, wouldn't you, Steve? Yeah. And so I'm going to ask Steve to talk about that newsletter, which we're calling Virginia News Reader. And we launched it last week, the week before. And I sent everybody who's an ED, or most EDs, the launch version of it. Yes. And why don't you talk about how that links back to websites too?
One of the things we really wanted to do is once we go to all this trouble to create the websites, we want to make sure that we help build up the traffic. Right, the statewide sort of traffic. And we also want to celebrate all the news content that our newspapers and members generate. So great stories from around the Commonwealth of Virginia. And you can only do that if you've got websites. So as Betsy says, we started a thing called the Virginia News Reader, which is vanewsreader.com or virginianewsreader.com. You can sign up for it. So we send it out twice a week. And what it does is we survey the state, all the websites that our newspapers have, and find the best news stories.
Right.
Sometimes features, sometimes interesting news stories that we think people will be. It might be about Shenandoah, it might be about Taiwan, it might be about Washington D.C., but it'll be a story that kind of touches everybody because we want to build up the traffic on these websites.
Right.
That would be great. So, we can only do that with the websites that are good. So the Virginia Newsreader is something that we have started a couple of weeks ago, sort of launching, and linking back to the websites is huge. And that's one of the things that is kind of a next step to kind of build that.
Yes.
Of course, once we get these websites up and going with the news, there are other things that we want to do. It's not just a first year get you a website. I think Rachel could kind of talk about what we're doing for the websites the second and third year during the program, right?
Yeah, so it's not just once you get a website, I just leave and never talk to you again. I'm very involved. Probably gets way too many emails from me, but I'm checking in. I'm making sure everybody is, happy with their website and how we can improve. And so, going into phase 2, we want to help them more revenue. So, ads, or if they want to do more with social media, or if they want to, start doing the auto. So I'm very with each year. I'm still going to keep in touch. So it's not just we give you the website and then walk out the door.
Yeah, it's very foundational. It's a basic thing. I'm really glib about it. In times I've been in meetings where I said I wouldn't hire a plumber who didn't have a website. There's some to that, and so it's kind of hard to believe that there'd be newspapers with no website. But we feel this is like a given in 2022, and then that launch pad. There's so many things that we can do. We probably haven't even thought of half of them yet, but. That's just sort of the basic thing. Everybody's on a level playing field. Everybody's got a good, active website. And now let's just really get the news out there in every way we can to let that local news is still valuable.
Right. There's so much to comment on there. I mean, the VA Newsreader, fantastic product. I think that's probably on a lot of press associations' radars. I mean, just creating like a statewide news source, but you're saying this is in the format of a newsletter that links out. So you're basically an aggregator.
Yes, we're curating.
You're curating, right.
Twice a week, free, always will be free.
Right. And so I'm curious, is there any connection to the public notice website or any plans to kind of tie it all together? Because if you're generating traffic to stories, that would probably be a good place to have the notices too, right?
Yes. What we've done is so it's so layered. We created print and digital house ads for the Virginia Newsreader.
Right.
And our members are already starting to use them both in print and digitally. Okay. And now as these websites get developed and they start running more and more ads, we're going to be sending them more and more house ads.
Right.
And one of the house ads we're going to be sending them is, here's how to find free keyword searchable public notice from any place in the state. I mean, all public notices are on that website. So yes, we'll have more opportunities to market the website.
Right.
And we've also been working with our members to make sure that they have the public notice in the homepage, like on the homepage in the top headline.
Yeah, because that's required by the code too.
Okay. Understanding the codes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what I'm hearing, and I gotta congratulate you guys on like really leading the way on this. I mean, you're true leaders in the industry. You've done something. You're trying to unite the newspapers in your state. I mean, that's something that's always been missing in this industry, and honestly, why I think a lot of Google and Facebook, these single entities, have been able to disrupt so much of what we've had, because we've just kind of been these silos of newspapers. And so you're really providing the information, you're providing the technology. This public notice stuff is, I know, on everyone's radar. So they're definitely very sensitive to that. And what you were also saying, Rachel, I thought was interesting about the long-term support. I think that's really, we believe in that as well. So that's why we're such a synergistic relationship, because we don't just set up a website. We're really in there week by week, and we have relationships, 20-year relationships with publishers. So we're going to be supporting you, and you'll be kind of the direct interface with the members. And, we're just like the technical guys in the background. And that's basically the model that, we're trying to spread, as far and wide as possible. So anything else that you guys would like to add? I kind of figured that we'd come in at about a half hour today with these questions. So we can start to wrap it up. I think we've got all the attendees' questions answered. Anything else that you guys would like to add?
Two things, Matt. One, I think one of the things that we appreciated with what y'all offered is the WordPress underpinning this. There's nothing really terribly proprietary about what y'all are doing.
Right.
So we have a 3-year program.
Right.
But if in year 4, people decide, well, I could do this myself. I want you to hand me the keys. I don't want to use our hometown. I don't want whatever. Not that they would, but if they do, they can walk away, and it will be, it won't be difficult. So nobody is locked into anything.
That's right.
And so that was one of the things, from a VPA point of view, we wanted to make sure that we didn't put our members at a disadvantage. We wanted to kind of, keep them moving forward. And if they wanted to leave, they could. That was fine.
Right.
And the other thing is, I would also caution people that, as I guess Leo Tolstoy said, every newspaper that's happy with its website is happy for the same reason, but every newspaper that's unhappy with its website is unhappy for different reasons. I think that was Tolstoy.
Right.
So you're thinking Rachel is great about this and making a connection with the people at the paper and their websites, saying, what do you want from your website?
Right.
What do you want to do? Some are sports oriented, some are features, some want to just generate advertising, some like their website, like the Courier-Record, just want it to be easier to put together. So all of these different sorts of things we're able to work with them on because we've got the foundation with a sort of framework that y'all have provided, that we can kind of drill down and meet their needs and their wants. Honest with you, and so that's worked out really well. But part of it is like Rachel making that connection with folks and saying, what is it that y'all need, and working with them individually. So there's no one answer to it.
That's a really good point. I want to unpack a couple things there. First of all, I think the way you've put together this program is really smart. It truly is a pilot program with zero obligation for the publishers, as you said. But just to explain a little bit, what we technically have is an agreement with VPA. We're not even asking these publishers to sign contracts with our hometown yet. So they would do that after 2 years if they wanted to stay. And even then, it's a month-to-month contract. We've never been into this multi-year contract thing holding you down. If you're not happy, or if you just think you can do it better on your own WordPress site, it's a very simple archive transfer. And in the meantime, we're building these archives for you. We're scraping those PDFs so you have all that content and you own that. So many good points there. But also, I just want to mention, like you said, many different reasons that the website is not working. And so we could have a non-mobile responsive website. They're a big candidate because that is, I think, 75% of the traffic for most sites. No paywall, no ability to run a paywall, no metered model, or can't get Google AdSense to run on their site for some reason all the time. Like so many
I always see a lot of broken images too. It's just people just not having the time to check up on their website.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And people aren't going to, report that stuff and give you that feedback. They're just going to bounce, unfortunately. Like after a certain point, if the user experience is not good. So yeah, we're really focused on that. We have our people going in there, quality controlling the website each week. So you literally don't even have to log in. You don't even have to look at the website. You can just send us the PDF and the site's done. And yeah, we're going to build this momentum. We're going to build the traffic from zero in some cases to a sustainable level to make it profitable. Okay, so that's all that I had. I just want to let anyone else get a last word in. I really appreciate what you said there, Steve. Anything else that you guys want to add? Any other advice to other press associations that are trying something similar?
No, but if you have follow-up questions, they know where to find us. Give us a call.
Yeah, everyone knows you, Betsy. So I'll definitely continue to use you as a reference. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone's time today. And for, again, just being leaders in the industry, really doing what needs to be done for your members. I really appreciate everything that you've done.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Nice talking to you.
Bye.
Okay, bye now.
We hope you are enjoying today's webinar. Stay tuned for comments from Billy Coleburn of the Courier-Record and Lisa Watson-McCarty of the Virginia Star on their experience with the program, from initial website setup and customization to monetization and measuring results.
We're just shy of 5,000 print circulation, and we've got about 650 of our e-subscribers, and they've really taken off since we've joined Our Hometown.
Right.
For some reason, it really has taken off.
So, yeah, you're in a slightly different situation because you did have a website before joining the initiative, but it wasn't taking off. You couldn't get the subscriptions to take off. Was that the issue?
The thing that's true. And plus, as Lisa can relate, we're so busy doing everything else. All of us are just saying, please, dear God, someday let it rain money from the internet. And I've always had faith that our industry would get this right. And it's companies like yours that I think are taking the lead. Us weekly folks have got to be led. We're doing too many things.
Right.
We're short staffed and it's not getting any better.
Right.
But I will say the biggest feature I've noticed that has been a positive is that Our Hometown will take a given week's edition and drop those stories on social media.
Right.
And the exposure of the paper, I mean, non-readers are now like all of a sudden actively engaged.
Right.
Of course, they're not paying us any money yet. But when we throw that paywall up in a couple of months, we're going to break some hearts and hopefully make a little money.
Lisa, again, just for context, the size of your paper and kind of what got you interested in the digital initiative.
We are a 6,000 paid subscriber, weekly, published every Wednesday. We have an older population who was slow and resistant to wanting an online edition, but I always wanted that. I didn't have the expertise myself. I didn't have the capability. I had no staff who could do that.
Right.
And this has been a godsend for us, this initiative with VPA. And working with your company, Matt, has been outstanding. I cannot say enough how much they have helped us. And we are slowly growing online subscribers. It's been a little challenge. I was a little hesitant to just jump right into it. Right. And I needed a little push from you guys occasionally to get me moving in the right direction. But I can't say enough of the design. Everything about it looks so professional. I mean, we look like we're a big time company, and we're just a little small company with about 5 employees who are working our butts off trying to cover our county.
Yeah, we had no type of advertising on our former website other than a few, like 4 or 5 sponsors that were on the top of the homepage.
Right.
With your company, and I'm still learning because we've, I've definitely seen ads. My understanding is we get paid based on the views, not clicks on the ads.
Correct.
And so
visits.
Far, visits. I don't know how that's working out. I haven't. My bank account isn't full yet, but I guess next week maybe it will be.
But VirginiaStar.net. This is your first website, Lisa. You said so. We're building this traffic from scratch.
Actually, Matt, we had an old website.
I'm sorry, you did have a site, but
I had lost an employee who took a different job, and we hadn't updated in several years.
Several years, that's right.
Like that.
I'm sorry, forgive me. Yeah, I forget the details, but that's when you have a situation like that. Unfortunately, the audience is. They've disappeared at this point. Yeah, because what we've learned is you got to update it really every week to maintain that traffic. So yeah, you were essentially going from no traffic to trying to build an audience. So how are you getting the word out about the website? Do you talk about it in the print edition at all, or?
Yeah, we do. We're getting ready to do a big push because I'm actually working with Vera from your staff, who's helping me do some of the Facebook where we will put on there. And I'm going to do a whole, when you do everything basically yourself, your time is pretty limited. And
no, absolutely.
I finished the graduation edition, and I got 3 high schools in my county, so I can move to the next thing. And I'm almost out of sports, so I'll be able to concentrate on working on this.
Yeah.
And then it should be seamless, I hope.
Believe me, I get it. Yeah. And this is something that the way Vera always says it is everyone knows that you need to be on Facebook because there's an audience there, but who has the time to do this on top of everything else? And so that's why we've automated the social media marketing with our WordPress plugin. I'll talk about that in more detail shortly, but let me ask you this. This is an FAQ that a lot of publishers ask, and I haven't seen this question in the chat yet, but we get this all the time. How long does it usually take to get a website launched? Bill, let's start with Lisa. How long did it take for us to turn this site around for you?
It was about maybe 6 weeks from start to finish.
Okay.
And most of it was because of me. I wasn't quite ready to go in.
Right.
Not that I didn't trust you guys. It's just I didn't have the time to devote to the things I needed to do on my end.
Right.
It was really easy. It was very easy.
And then week to week, when you send us those PDF files, how long does it basically take for us to publish them as text articles on the website? In your experience?
Suspect that I don't actually follow it per se.
Right.
Only because I do upload the PDFs to you. I don't actually look at the website until Wednesday morning. It's always done, unless I've screwed up. I've done that once or twice. So.
And that's right. That's kind of the point. Is this thing is all designed so that you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to check the website to make sure that we did it right. We have a whole quality control process. But yeah, so just for your information and just for everyone listening, basically for a 12 to 15 page paper, it's going to take us about an hour to do this whole extraction process from when we receive the files. So very quick, faster than it would take to copy and paste everything for sure. And plus you don't have to do it, right?
That's the best part. I don't have to do it, and you do it, and it ends up and it looks fabulous.
Well, it has to get done, and it's just like, you have better things to do. I mean, you're the publisher than copying and pasting. So let's turn it over to Bill. How long did it take us to turn around the new website from when we first started talking? Do you recall?
I mean, from the time we first started talking, I'd say like 4 weeks. We were very seamless. Vera is the MVP. I've got to talk to her about some other things. But the big dilemma, it's not a dilemma. My mindset, having grown up on print, third generation.
Yes.
Each week I'll look at what stories, there's some things we exclude from being dispersed on social media, such as the obituaries, which are paid.
Right. And that's the bottom line is all these marketing efforts with social media. It's just about tapping into this audience that, maybe we've lost touch with. They're still there, but they've, they're on Facebook, most of the day. Some of these people. So yeah. Now here, let's take a look at your site. Courier-Record redesign, mobile friendly design on WordPress. Any comments for us on this, Bill? On the whole process of designing the website and launching. Anything you'd like to add?
It's been. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Y'all done great. Y'all done the work. Basically, we upload the pages just like we do to our printer.
Right.
And voila, it starts your stories at 6 o'clock the next day. One point I do want to make to everybody listening, and I don't know if it's happening elsewhere in Virginia, but here in Blackstone, Virginia, we do all our work Tuesday night. We take the physical papers to the post offices. Right. Some days here in Blackstone, which has a nice big post office, no mail gets delivered, or only on a certain route. So that's why this e-subscription is so big. Right. And I'm telling people who don't live in the county, I'm like, look, I urge you, if you want to keep your sanity and not miss a week or get your paper late, please do the e-edition. It's cheaper, and you don't have to worry about it being late.
For the ad network, Bill, I think, do you recall there was basically 2 steps involved in that? Was it a lot of work on your part, I guess is the question, getting that ad network running?
It basically has been myself, my front office manager, my graphic designer, and it's been a walk in the park.
Right.
But we were with another company.
Right.
So before we made the switch, of course, we had to get all our ducks in a row. It's been seamless.
Right. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, it's been great.
70% of your traffic, Bill, is coming from Facebook right now. Wow. So, I'm sure you believe that. It seems like you understand.
That doesn't surprise. I'd be curious what the other 30% is coming from.
Right. Well, it's a mix of other social networks and direct traffic. I could get you those stats. Yeah, it's interesting to look at.
And I'll say this too, as a rule, whatever you belong to, whether it's a country club or a chamber of commerce, people are always asking, what benefit do I get out of it? And I can honestly say, this is not just because I'm a former board member. This is one of the most, the biggest benefits that the VPA has ever offered its members, not to mention the lobby and fighting for the public notices and all that. This is a big deal. And most of the papers, I would venture to say, are rural/suburban in the Virginia Press Association. And we know who the big papers are, but all across the Commonwealth, there are papers like Lisa's and mine with a staff of between 4 and 7 people that are overworked. You're always worried about, God forbid, if someone leaves, then we're back at, it's, I'm more upbeat. I'll be honest, I'm more upbeat and optimistic and less intimidated by the great, vast internet than I've ever been. I'm 53 years old, college educated, have a strong online presence, but now I'm starting to see, hey, we can monetize this baby. We can do it.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks.
Let me add, if this 61-year-old woman can figure out how to do it, anybody can do it. Because I didn't know anything about it, but our hometown has done a fantastic job, and it's so easy. Everything they tell you to do, you do it, and it's simple. And then you look like the New York Times, if that's what you want to be, the New York Times. But they're a fantastic group.
We appreciate your joining us for today's webinar. Coming up next, we are featuring a behind-the-scenes look at Our Hometown onboarding process with the Petersburg Observer, discussing the prototype website, platform features, as well as the financial details of the digital initiative program.
Basically, Curtis, my objective today is pretty straightforward. Really 3 things I want to cover. Just first of all, answer any questions you have on the IPA digital initiative, which again, congratulations for getting accepted into that program. Second thing, demo of our initial prototype. We've got that right in front of us now. So we'll just show you what we put together. And it's just an initial prototype. So it's like a first draft. We can change anything about it, colors, the logo, if you got a new logo for the site, whatever. And then the third thing is just discussing the next step to getting the website live as soon as possible, as soon as you're ready to go.
Okay. Sounds great.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And it looks like Cindy's now connected. Hey, Cindy.
Hello. Sorry, I had a phone call I was on.
No problem at all. We're just getting started. So thank you for joining. As I was just telling Curtis, we're just going to go through kind of an overview of the program briefly and then go over the website. So yeah, Curtis, I guess it's Jane that applied to the program, but are you familiar at all with the whole initiative?
Just from the press release that
right.
The IPA, yeah.
Got it. Well, I think that did a pretty good job explaining it. Basically, it's a totally turnkey thing. Our hometown has been doing this for 26 years, where we take the print PDF and turn it into a mobile responsive website. So that's what we have right here. Excuse me. And we did this from a sample PDF of yours that, I think Jane just sent us through FTP. So we'll just need someone there to do that every week. And I'm assuming that would probably be you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just like the FTP send it to the printer, you just got to send it to take one extra step and send it to our hometown.
Okay.
And so that's all that you're going to have to do for this website. It's literally going to update itself. From your perspective, we actually have some software that'll strip apart the PDF and put all the articles up in HTML. And we'll go through a demo of that. Actually, why don't you go ahead and just pull up an article real quick, Tyler,
sure.
Just to give an example. Let me ask you this, Curtis. Are you familiar at all with WordPress? Have you ever used WordPress?
A little, and I was kind of using the demo a little bit that you sent. I actually added a PDF this morning and then added that Oakford article you're looking at just to kind of see how it's done.
Excellent.
But that was one of my questions, if you guys had some way to automatically take it off the PDFs or if we had to do it. So
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. That's the good news is you're not going to actually have to do any of that, but you can, obviously. You just did it. So you can see now you have full control of the website. Okay. There is nothing about this. You can change the stories that we're putting up for you, if they need to be edited for whatever reason. But basically, we're going to do the bulk of the work. That's our proposal. If you wanted to put the stories up from the get-go, you could, but usually what publishers will do is start full service and then maybe migrate to self-service once the website's kind of got some momentum.
Okay.
So, that's up to you and Jane, really. What we'll do today is put together a proposal that you can do either self-service or you can have us do the posting.
Okay.
And this, the extraction. Okay, so let me get to my list here. We'll demo the prototype now, just from top to bottom. Basically just a mobile friendly WordPress site. So we've got the fixed navigation at the top. We've got categories. We can change any of those categories to whatever you want. We just really chose those based on the PDF that you sent. But, if you want to kind of designate the categories slightly differently or just name them differently on the site, we can do that.
Okay.
But basically, we kind of just lay out the whole paper on the homepage here. Each of these is called a widget. So these are actually story widgets that are pulling in content from the CMS. One thing I don't want to miss, though, right above that. Oh, sorry, actually. Yeah,
Right.
so this
Yep.
is the customize tool. No, this is good. So I don't know. Did you happen to explore this at all, Curtis? Because this is kind of a hidden tool. I don't know if you noticed it.
I actually did not find this.
Okay, so yeah, you can just get there with the little paintbrush icon on the dashboard.
Okay.
And basically, this is where you can edit the layout. This is like the styling control center for the website. And so, like, for example, let's see, we're looking at the flyout menu. So, you can control what kind of menus get pulled in where. We've got the fixed navigation menu at the top and then the primary navigation there. Maybe you want to just show them how to quickly like swap widgets real quick.
Sure.
We can just switch. Let's just, do any of those story widgets. I think it's the main slider area. We call it that because usually people are putting the slider right at the top. And that's what we've done here. So you should be able to just drag and drop those blocks on the left to rearrange. Or actually, you're going to kind of just use the widget block editor position to shift them around. So that's just, we've laid this out somewhat randomly. But if you want sports up higher, because you're seeing in your metrics, sports are most popular category, it would make sense to elevate that,
Okay.
And you can do that at any time. You can play around in here with changes and then just not publish them, and nothing will change on the site if you want to just experiment.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the customized tool. Again, nothing you're gonna have to do it. You're not gonna have to do anything in there ever. It's only an optional thing. Everything will update, and the stories will fill in automatically each week. A couple things I want to point out at the top here. As part of the program, we're going to be running the Capital News Illinois widget. So that'll just give traffic to that website, and it's also great content, just statewide content. The Cannabis Weekly is optional. I included it here in case you want to run it. And Cindy, could you maybe fill me in? I wasn't quite sure on the details of how this widget works.
We're giving them the opportunity to run this Cannabis Weekly. So if you guys want to run it, it's there. But your advertising department can sell onto this, and it makes dollars for you that helps maintain the website.
And just real quick, we wanted to say thank you for everything, Cindy. We appreciate it and appreciate the grant and everything.
Oh, good. Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure to relay that real quick for her.
Yeah, definitely. Cindy, Ron, they've all been like super awesome to work with. We're just getting this program off the ground. You would be one of the first papers to launch. So it's really exciting. You'll be kind of like leading the charge.
It's an awesome program. And definitely with the cost of printing the paper is increasing very much. We're definitely very thankful. So we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to get you the runway that you need. Okay. Like I said, we've been doing this for 26 years and we've got the model down packed. So let's get down to the brass tacks here a little bit, I guess, with the feature set, because we've got this core set of features and every one of them is there to generate revenue. And that's why we're putting them in the program. We have a lot of other opt-in features, and we're going to show you our whole fee schedule here. We got things like, native apps you can add on, audio articles, things like that. But there's, those are kind of just like next generation kind of, you want to get the nuts and bolts working on the website first. And that's just your paywall and an ad network. That's what we really need. And we also need just like regular updates on the website each week. So we're going to facilitate all that. So just to look at our costs, and we'll print this all off and send it to you and Jane as our proposal. But basically, the next thing that needs to happen for us to go live with the site is we do need a contract with you guys. It's just a 30-day, month-to-month contract.
Okay.
But we need that to get started. And then, hopefully you'll be a customer for many, many years. But if for whatever reason the program doesn't work out, there's no commitment.
Okay.
We just need 30 days notice. But these are basically the rates that you would be getting for the first year of the program. Second year, things are going to change a little bit. It's going to turn into a group discount, but I can definitely guarantee these rates for the first year. And so basically, it's got the platform, which is the WordPress CMS. Digital subscriptions is a second feature there. Web ads, which includes an ad network, basically runs off of AdSense and other premium ad networks. So, we could just automate that revenue stream. And then the e-edition, we see that as key as, for bridging the print audience and getting them on digital and getting them engaged. So that's the core feature set that we recommend. It's normally $249 a month, but as an IPA member and for being in the program, you get a 45% discount for the first year. So that puts our cost at $137 per month. And then we definitely recommend the social media auto post feature, which is going to be in the optional add-on features. It's just $10 a month. And then that's optional, but we really recommend it for the marketing. I noticed that you were about 1.5K, 1.4K followers on Facebook, which is a great resource, to tap into. We definitely, this is worth it because otherwise you got to copy and paste every link onto Facebook, and just the time that you would save doing that is worth it. And then this is going to help us generate traffic to the website, generate subscriptions, and ad network revenue.
So for that, do we just give you guys our Facebook login? Is that how it works?
Well, we wouldn't actually need the login. We would just need to schedule a quick meeting with you so that you could sort of authenticate it through your account.
Okay.
This plugin.
Okay.
Yep. Good question. So those are the core features, and that's really what we would recommend at a minimum to get started. On top of that, though, there is the extraction service. So we can do the PDF extraction. That's just $2 per page. So to get an accurate quote for you here, what is the page count? Because you have 2 papers that we're going to be putting on one site, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this is even correct for one paper. So how many pages do you have in each paper?
We average probably about, on average, probably 8 on per paper. So it'd be 16.
Great. Okay, nice. So that's really not going to be expensive at all. It'll definitely be worth it. And like I said, it's $2 per page. So if you just think about the time that you would save, just letting us do it, that's the calculation. And if at any point, it becomes more economical for you to do it or someone on staff to do it, then we can just drop that. But just to really get the website, the momentum going of regular updates, never miss a week, you can use our production staff. And that's all that they do. They're virtual all over the country, and we work with 250 newspapers. So they're getting these files in at all hours. And, so you can count on us to just update the site.
As far as the digital subscriptions, what does that include, that price?
Right. So the price includes just unlimited use of it's called MemberPress, but it's a WordPress plugin for digital subscriptions.
Okay.
For selling them on the site. We would need you to set up a Stripe account, which is free to do. There's no monthly cost for that. They just have their, normal credit card processing fees. Basically, we plug that account into the site, and all of the subscriptions are totally automated. We could also sell print subscriptions through the website, combo subscriptions, or digital only, or digital only.
I was just going to also mention the subscriptions also come with paywalls. So
thank you.
You can implement any level of paywall you want along with that.
Right. Okay. But yeah, I want to actually add on Tyler's point. We didn't really demonstrate the paywall because we're logged in, but we recommend a metered paywall, like on the New York Times, where you get a couple free stories a month, or, you can set the meter at whatever you want. But basically, I would recommend 4 to 5 stories a month, is the time period. And then once they run out, they hit the paywall. So in this case, it looks like we have it set to 10. That's just a really high number just for the prototypes. So, you're not constantly hitting the paywall, but that will count down for the user as they look at new stories. If they look at the same story multiple times, it doesn't count against them. And then we just have that subscribe button, and they could also log in. Obviously, we want them to log in and get access if they're already paying. The one other thing is just the setup cost. I just want to point out, sorry, scroll back down again, Tyler, thank you. Normally $1,000, you get the same 45% discount. And that includes, the prototype that we made for you, any changes to the prototype, training that you would like to have before launch or after launch, and, the actual launch process.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that a yearly cost or is that a one-time?
That's a one-time cost.
Okay.
Set it up. Yep. All right. So that's all the costs. We went over how the grant works. That's going to, be for the first year. And then, the cannabis revenue opportunity. Anything else that I'm missing, Cindy, that you can think of?
I don't think so. Just like I said, thank you for your expertise on this, because I don't know. I know Ron set it up, but I think this is great.
Oh, no, it's wonderful having you here. I appreciate it. Just let us know if you have any other questions. Tyler's going to follow up with you shortly with all those documents that we discussed. And like I said, once we receive those, we'll move forward, and we'll have another meeting with you, and at least one more probably, just to go over any training issues that you want.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds great. We really appreciate everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you. And thank you for jumping on today. Appreciate your time. And we'll be in touch shortly.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. For further information, please reach out to us at ops@ourhometown.com. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on social media to keep up with the latest from our hometown.